Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
All right, Jesse Ventura got cut off. We're talking to John. Maybe have time to go to Dion and Eric before he goes. We got 5 minutes in this segment. Then I will break down the latest on Jade Helm after Governor Ventura leaves us. Governor, you were making a great point. It's in the defense budget since 2007 and subsequent ones to get rid of posse comitatus. It's in the Army Times. I mean, they're admitting there's already been a takeover. So we're not saying this is an imminent takeover. They've already gotten rid of posse comitatus. Elaborate on that.
Well, John McCain and Carl Levin, the Democrat from Michigan in the Senate, put an amendment to the defense bill, which, of course, nobody can vote against the defense bill or you're anti-American, right?
That's right.
So, we all know that. And so they put this amendment on that allows the U.S. military to operate freely inside of our country, which has never been allowed before. And so that went through that defense bill. So anything that's happening now is not surprising to me. I remember I went to the local CBS affiliate. I walked in there as the former governor and said, "Why aren't you reporting on this amendment?" The reporter took it all down, looked at me and said, "Well, it'll go upstairs. We'll see if it gets on." And it never did. Mainstream media didn't say a word about that amendment that McCain and Levin did that turned loose the American military inside our country.
And Jade Helm is this simple. They take a big drill that's very mysterious that they say will be simulating illegal things, will be in plain clothes in 10 states. And we go, wow, this is all part of the militarization of police. Eisenhower warned, and they go, Alex Jones says they're going to kill locals. And they just keep saying that without showing me saying it. So then when they don't kill people, they go, see, it's okay to have military on the streets. It turned out okay. That's the PSYOP.
Well, it's not okay to have military on our streets. That's supposed to be police and civilian. The military is the military, and they should not be operating inside the confines of our country. I think that's far more dangerous than building a wall between us and Mexico.
Absolutely. Well, Jesse, I know you're not really a technical...
You know what? Maybe that's why they're building the wall, Alex, so we can't get out.
That's what Ron Paul said. Anybody
ever think about that? Think about that for a moment, people. Do they want this wall down there so you can't escape?
Actually, they're changing with capital and currency controls and making it where you can't get your money out of the U.S. right now. That's actually admitted.
I don't know about anything about that, but all I know is people should always remember a wall works both ways.
No, I know, but I'm saying I agree with you.
It keeps people in.
I agree with you. That's actually what they're going to use it for.
You know?
All right, well, let's get a final comment from John in Alabama. John,
sure.
you just heard his take on it. You're saying your dad's seeing a lot of military operations around the country. Go ahead.
And he actually did the other day of one of these vehicles in a Poe dump close to where I grew up. I mean, there's not even 1,000 people in this town where he took the picture of this vehicle. But the real reason I called, I'm currently, and I'm probably about to be on my way out of this town. I'm currently living in Ozark, Alabama, close to Fort Rooker, the aviation base, the main aviation school of the state, as far as I know. And, you know, I see a lot of military personnel every day. I've been noticing lately there are military personnel walking around with no name tags, no identification of branch of service. And 2 nights ago, I was in the Walmart, and they can call me crazy, they can call me a conspiracy theorist, whatever. I mean, you've got a man on the other line, you know, Mr. Ventura. I mean, you're a great man. I watch the show, but people have called you a crazy, outlandish conspiracy.
No, I know. He's got to go. I'm going to come back, and you can tell us what you saw in Walmart. But bottom line, yes, they are taking the name tags off. There's weird operations going on everywhere. They're getting ready for something big. And, Jesse, do you think it's financial, or is it war with Russia, or what is it? What does your gut tell you?
I don't know, Alex. You know, it's on so many fronts today, and it's coming at us from different angles and everything. You really don't know which really one it will be. You know, is it the lockdown of America of, you know, putting us all in our houses now, and we can only go out when we're told to go out because for fear that terrorists are going to get us and that ISIS is ready to invade us, which I find completely laughable.
Yeah, that's it. Well said. Thank you. So I have 5 different news articles The New York Times, Salon, top secret writers, and others coming out and misrepresenting what we're saying, in some cases completely. Salon says that Alex Jones' anti-PC rants could get gay people murdered and then show no example of me saying anything. The New York Times, in an article titled, "As Jade Helm 15 Exercises Begin, Texans Keep Watch." And it says that I believe that it's a plan to exterminate and kill militias. And then don't link to it. And then this article is one of the biggest fabrications I've ever seen. You talk about preying on your audience. You talk about manipulating your audience. The New York Times says, with a big photo on the front of their article, warning, the door you are about to break down is loaded for your, and then it's got an image of an assault rifle. And implies people are just waiting to kill troops. And then goes and quotes us saying the military's coming to exterminate you. And then don't link. I mean, how do you read the New York Times and then there's no quote? They don't even put it in quotes. They just say Alex Jones and InfoWars believe that it's a plan to exterminate the militias, and then don't show where I say it. I mean, if you're at Infowars.com, there'd be multiple links where they say it. I mean, if we say Louis Farrakhan has come out and said something, we show it. Or if we say Rush Limbaugh said something, we show it. But again, it's like Rachel Maddow and those shows going, Alex Jones is deeply racist. Alex Jones is behind the Boston bombing. And then they don't show it. And the new talking point, we've heard it locally, every day, and then I'm told it's going on in every major city. There is a talking point to say, I used to like Alex Jones, but, you know, he wants cops dead. Yeah. Or I used to like Alex Jones, but he's glad the kids died at Sandy Hook. Stuff like that. And then you find out, you discover it is a literal hit piece. And they have this new one. Alex Jones Marine Toys for Tots clip prove he's a moron. And then it goes on to say that I say the real criminals and the enemy is the Marines. The clip is accompanied by a voiceover by Alex Jones talking about it's his right to film the real criminals. So they say it's me in some other city talking about how Toys for Tots is a psyop, and it's a bald-headed guy who looks like he's 55, and he doesn't even really say that. He says, I support the military, but this is a psyop to get kids, you know, involved. I mean, obviously it is. And then you go, there's not even a voiceover. It's not even me. And this is what I deal with on a daily basis now. And if you go back 2 years ago, the headline was, Pentagon promises to stop lying because of Drudge. And it's a 45-minute long speech by the Undersecretary of Defense. And they've got this huge auditorium full of PSYOP people, civilian and enlisted and in brass. And they go, we promise to stop lying now. We're going to engage in every city and town with military, working with your newspaper, your website, and your news to make sure the truth gets out. And everybody looks totally freaked out with their head in their hand because they've done this in Iraq. I mean, this is a rollout takeover. And when they say, because of Drudge and other alternative media, we can't lie anymore. And then, like, people that aren't part of the PSYOP enlisted, well, non-commissioned officers get up and start going, you mean I don't have to lie anymore because I don't like lying when I... And they're like, oh, thank you, ma'am. You're done speaking. Oh, thank you. Because It's some of the most powerful video ever if you know what you're seeing. They're rolling out the domestic takeover and the PSYOP, which they just legalized last year by an act of Congress, saying you can now engage in lying domestically. That was even in the Washington Post. CIA propaganda now legalized. And that's what it is. That's why they want to overturn the courts and say they can lie about people and just get on the news and say Alex Jones is a pedophile. Or, I mean, let me tell you, when they get up there and say I'm behind the Boston bombing, I mean, do you want me to play that clip again? Or I'm, quote, deeply racist, and don't play a clip where I want gay people to be killed? Anyone that listens to this show knows that is a complete lie. And then I've decried folks going out and attacking people for their sexual preference. But it doesn't matter because maybe 80% of the public in this country doesn't know who I am. In some pockets, it's like 60, 70% do. But still, even if the people know who I am, it's kind of like, oh, he really said that? Here's what's happened. They've been caught lying, so they've tripled and quadrupled and quintupled and infinityed down with lies. And so now, as I told you, I said when Jade Helm starts the 15th, you are going to see them everywhere say the laughable nut Alex has been discredited. Jade Helm was not martial law. Nothing happened. When we never said it was going to do that, it was further conditioning. And they will just sit there and assault their audience with fraud. While they get away with taking hundreds of thousands, 280+ thousand troops have died in the last decade not getting treatment. That's leaked VA documents. And here's the good news. There are people inside the VA leaking the truth. Here's the bad news. They're trying to arrest whoever leaked it now. See, in the past, you'd get a medal for leaking information when Tosh Plumlee did it in the 70s and the 80s if you expose criminal activity. Or it's 238. I inverted the number. I flipped it. 238,000 U.S. veterans died waiting for health care, leaked document. And that's just what the VA says. And it's on purpose. They aren't going to give you health care. And it's operable stuff. Oh, you got skin cancer? 97% operable if we cut it off? Come back in 6 months. Oh, Joe Biggs, you got blown up in 2 armored vehicles. So your esophagus is burned by the smoke and the fire, and you cough up blood everywhere. We're not going to fix it. Here's some pills. I don't want pills. Hey, my leg got blown up and my knee's out again, and you didn't do the surgery on my foot right, where his foot got blown up. And they just go, we're not giving you surgery. Now get out of here. That's what they tell them. Oh, but if you're illegal, you get the surgery or you get to have your baby for free. And we're not against these people, but why is it free for them and not for the vets who've earned it? Because the vets are already here and they're done with you. They want new people because we aborted 50+ million of our kids, so we do need new people here so Social Security doesn't collapse. But they're not even doing that. They're already rated Social Security. I mean, these are facts. Now, John in Alabama, finish your point. You said you're there in Alabama outside the air base, and there's just troops suddenly with name tags off everywhere. Yeah, that's what's happening. That's part of Jade Helm that is in Alabama. They expanded it to Alabama. It was 7 states. It's now 10. And it's just, I mean, I see it myself. I couldn't wreck and get video of it, but I was in San Marcos yesterday doing an investigation that we're working on, and I saw a black MRAP driving the other side of the road. And then I saw Homeland Security people in blue uniforms walking out of a gas station when I was getting gas. And they knew who I was, by the way, and saw me and kind of did like this and got in their vehicle. I'm not kidding. I mean, as soon as I looked over the gas thing and these people were getting in their car, it was 2 older guys with, with short beards. They just went, oh, God, that's Alex Jones. We are just overrun with DHS. So tell us what you saw in Walmart.
Okay, I've always been the type of guy to mind my own business, until all this stuff started happening.
I get it. You're just a regular guy. What'd you say?
And it affects me as an American citizen. And, I was raised on patriotic beliefs to stand for and uphold the Constitution because all the men in my family were in the military. And I'm in Walmart the other night down here. It was real close to 1 o'clock in the morning, if it wasn't 1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, fine. What'd you see?
I'm walking through there, and I see these two guys in black suits, and then they've got other guys around them. They're talking to a Walmart manager. And I walk past, and, you know, people can tell me I'm crazy, full of crap, whatever. Like, I tried to take a picture, and they took my phone. They had UN badges on their lapels. The little globe with the leaves, the same thing on their flag was on their lapels. They had ID badges to Fort Rooker, UN personnel. Like, they are here in America, man. They don't want anybody to know. As soon as I tried to take a picture of the guy, I was tackled to the ground by what I'm assuming is his bodyguards, arrested by the city police, and my phone was taken, and they still haven't got it back.
All right. Okay, if this is true, and I believe you, look out. We're going to jump on an airplane right now. I want you to put you on hold. I want you to scan whatever email, the arrest, the paperwork, and we will send reporters up there because, you know, that is just outrageous. And, sir, there are UN troops all over the place. They have Russian troops, and I heard about this years before it was confirmed, training to take on domestic groups. It's all part of secret treaties. And the treaties are breaking up right now. But, yes, they have Russian troops training at secret bases in Denver and Colorado Springs. And this even came out in the Denver Post. They admitted it's secret to take on domestic groups. So it's a global government. It's State Department Memorandum 7277. Freedom from war. It's global government after the global crash. So I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to get your contact info right now. More of your calls coming up. Dr. Jerome, of course, he joins us as well. The economic meltdown happening worldwide and on Donald Trump. He knows him well. But John in Alabama, I'm not saying I disbelieve him. I mean, he sounds like a real person, but he also sounds really freaked out, which would be normal, but then he's not that clear. When were you, just answer my questions very simply, because this is a big deal if it's true. When were you tackled by who? John from Alabama. When were you tackled and by who? Harmon, did you put him back on? He's back in? Can you hear me, John?
John.
Okay, well, you got his number. Call him back at home. He probably hung up and the line's dead. Yeah, he dropped. See, I'm right. He dropped off. Call him back. But it's paying attention to stuff like this that's important. I've had the military take footage from me in San Antonio at gunpoint. So I know this goes on. Delta Force. Going around buying everybody off. So I know this stuff goes on. I know there's UN officers all over. Our military is under the UN treaties. I know they're involved in domestic psyops saying I hate the Marines and that they're the enemy. I better watch it. They'll edit that together, but people know they're lying. And that I want to kill gay people and that Jade Helm is imminent martial law and they're going to kill everybody. They'll probably take that and edit it and put it on CNN because this is an enemy force, people. And they've got to keep the public in the dark. They've got to keep the public ignorant about this. Operation Jade Helm. Why conspiracy theorists fear the U.S. is invading Texas? See, we're not saying they're invading Texas, but they can find anybody, probably their operatives online, saying that it's an imminent takeover and then project it onto us when the takeover's already happened. So, see, we have an incremental takeover happening. How do you discredit people that are trying to stop that? You lie and say that they say it's imminent so that when it's not all happening at once or complete, then it legitimizes whatever else happens after. They have us crying wolf. They cry wolf for us so that people don't listen and see what's already happened. It's a false flag crying wolf. Jade Helm is a false flag crying wolf operation. They go on to say what the conspiracy theorists believe. Then they quote me. This is just a cover for deploying the military on the streets, said Jones. I've hardly ever heard of something joint like this unless they're planning an invasion. And that's true in context, but not out of context. I was talking about for overseas operations. Because I went on, I remember this was when we first talked about it with Joe Biggs. I went on to say, so this is a conditioning operation Fears have also been stoked by a public letter allegedly written by Texas Ranger to the Common Sense Show. The letter has been shared widely and is treated with huge respect by conspiracy theorists. And they show no evidence of that. So they're betting a lot on this, and I meant to give this to the guys. In fact, I told them this morning, and I need to give it to them. It's in the David Jones. My dad screenshotted it for me in the text. Give it to Buckley. This is going to happen right now. This is newsworthy. The Democrats are using Jade Helm lies to raise money. And my parents are on some Democrat mailing list because my mom gave money to an environmental group to save the springs. They don't save the springs. They steal private property and then build mansions on it later. But she admits that she was wrong. It's like 25 years ago. So that's how they're on the Democratic Party mailing list. So I guess that's a good thing, that we get all this intel. And it's screenshotted in there. And then it just goes on from there. I mean, I'm in hundreds of news articles a day the last 2 days, just lying about what I stand for, lying about what's going on. And this is so, again, anybody questioning militarization of police, the military on the streets of America. Remember, the end posse comitatus would never come. There'd never be troops. Now they admit they're domestically prepared to, quote, take on the Tea Party and gun owners and veterans. They leave the border wide open, and then we say, see, we told you something big's coming, and then they freak out about it. John in Alabama is back. John, we're going to break here. When were you arrested? Okay, I get...
Come again?
Holy hell. John, when were you arrested?
Let's see, what's today? Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning around 1 a.m.
Okay, and you say you don't know what they charge you with, or did they not charge you?
They just took me to the city jail in handcuffs. They kept me there for about 2 hours and then kicked me loose, said that they were cutting me loose on a recognizance bond to come back and get the paperwork that I would need for court and everything, and it would tell me what I was charged with. Now, I'm not a criminal, but I have been arrested.
Sir, I'm sorry I was short with you. We had some phone problems and you'd hung up. You sound credible to me. Okay, so you've given us your number. I want you to get us your paperwork. I got Corsi coming up, but I want to call you back in overdrive. This is important.
Jones and the GCN
I want to flesh this out, so thank you, John. Sorry if I sound angry. Dr. Jerome Corsi joins us. Then I'll go into overdrive and take some more phone calls and finish John's amazing report from Alabama, if he can hold with us. Dr. Jerome Corsi is a Ph.D. from Harvard University in political science in '72. He's currently a senior staff reporter at WorldNet Daily. He's a 3 or 4 time #1 New York Times bestseller. He's an expert on political violence and terrorism and advised the State Department and other agencies in secret operations. In 1981, he received a top-secret clearance from the Agency for International Development, where he assisted in providing anti-terrorism training to embassy personnel. For 25 years, Dr. Corsi developed working with banks throughout the United States and around the world to develop financial service marketing companies to assist banks in establishing broker, loan, deal, insurance subsidiaries, provide financial planning products and services to their retail customers. He's a noted financial services speaker and writer. In fact, that's what he's better known for by the general public than somebody fighting the New World Order. And so we're going to stop right there, JeromeCorsi.com, WND.com. No stranger to this show. He's probably been on 40 times in the last 10 years. So I want to cover the waterfront with him in the 25 minutes we have left now. I want to get into his take on Donald Trump, knowing him, talking to him a lot. Is he for real, or is he Democratic Party operative like George Will said? Well, I mean, you know, John Boehner's a Democratic Party shill for as far as I'm concerned. Then more importantly, world financial meltdown. How serious is it with Greece and China and the rest of it? Separately, I never said Jade Helm, everybody knows this, who listens to this show, was imminent martial law. I said it's part of the militarization, the end posse comitatus that everybody's talked about. They have hundreds of articles. They're back. They haven't done this in a few weeks. Hundreds of articles a day saying that I want to kill gay people with no proof. The New York Times, that I believe it's an imminent plan to murder Texans. And they show no link. They just say a plan to eradicate the public. And just a whole bunch of other craziness that I want to kill police. And then, I mean, they're really assassinating my character right now at a level I've never seen. All of this is actionable for defamation, libel, slander. The problem is I can't sue them all. So it's a court of public opinion. Defend me, pray for me, get the word out. But this is them getting rid of the propaganda ban for the Pentagon and CIA domestically. This is what they do. This is hardcore. Our government's been seized by criminals. They're using the powerful organs of propaganda against me, against Rand Paul, and against others. And it is unprecedented. And I see it happening to Donald Trump and want to defend him because what he's saying is true, and he's being misconstrued and taken out of context. But I know he was for the assault weapons ban. He supported Hillary. And Dr. Corsi years ago talks to Trump a lot and had his concerns. So he joins us now to cover the waterfront from WND.com. Doctor, thanks for taking time out.
Hi, Alex. It's always a great pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So you've got the floor. What do you want to tackle first?
Well, I mean, let's follow up on Donald Trump and your comments on Donald Trump. I mean, first of all, I think Donald Trump is, this time, I think he's for real, much more than before. And I don't even think that's the real question. The real question is that Donald Trump has moved the debate of the presidential election onto a ground that is, one, telling the truth and saying things directly, not worrying about being politically correct. That's drawing Donald Trump a very big audience. And secondly, on immigration, he's put the immigration topic on the front burner. And he's really ignited the topic such that even Hispanics can say, look, we're not for a round of illegals that are criminals. We are not invading the country to take it over with criminals and undesirable people. I think that this is the proper time to call the Obama administration for failure to enforce immigration laws. And Donald Trump is on that agenda. He's doing a good job, and I support his efforts. I think he's really leading the debate. And I'd say quit worrying about if he's going to stay in the debate or where it's going to go. The fact is he's doing a good job right now, and he's probably likely to continue that as long as he's winning support and gaining attention. And I don't see any end to this.
Well, I sure hope he's for real because he's really smart. He's charismatic. I think he'd make a great president if he won't come after our guns, if he'll really cut taxes. Because let's face it, you couldn't hold this country back if they just cut taxes. The system wants a Cloward and Piven. They don't want us to become wealthy. They want to control us. They want us poor. So, yeah, anybody could fix America if they went back to our basics. But in your gut, do you think he's going to step down later and let Jeb Bush slide in and beat a Rand Paul or somebody else?
Well, I mean, he's got a Ross Perot factor going right now. And if Ross Perot had stayed in the race, we may never have had Bill Clinton as president. And I think this time around, Trump sees the opportunity. Trump could actually emerge victorious this year. I think that's in 2016. I think it'll be a great surprise. I think he's going to be in the GOP debates. He's going to set the agenda. And my guess is Trump is not going to want to pull out. He's going to want to stick it through this time. And I'm certainly hoping and pulling that he does. In the immediate, the change that he's registering in the presidential campaign is extremely positive because it's putting on the agenda questions that those of us who have opposed this new world order, this entire loss of America, which, Alex, I've joined you in fighting against. This is something Donald Trump is championing, and I want to see him continue. But let's move on to, there's so many topics to talk about. You laid out a good agenda. I mean, Iran. I mean, I cannot believe how fast the Obama administration, I predicted when I wrote Atomic Iran in 2005 that John Kerry would be the one who would actually negotiate a way to give Iran nuclear weapons. And here, 10 years later, published that book in 2005, John Kerry has pulled the same Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton that was done with North Korea and saying, why don't we give them, enriched uranium and let them have a nuclear industry on the promise that they won't make bombs.
By the way, I got to interrupt. How on earth, when he was nowhere near the position he is now, as Secretary of State, how did you predict that he'd be the man 10 years later to do this?
It was an instinct. I mean, I knew he was, when I wrote the book, he had just lost the presidential campaign. And I wanted to make it clear, that it was John Kerry who was pushing this agenda that we ought to trust Iran the way we were trusting North Korea.
And it was your book that's credited as shooting him down.
Yeah, what was the Unfit for Command, which I co-authored with John O'Neill, was the book that destroyed Kerry's presidential opportunity in 2004. And by 2005, I was on Kerry because I knew Kerry was being paid and by the Iranian government through this Hassan Namazi, who's now in federal prison. I always believed Hassan Namazi was an agent of the mullahs, and he was here supporting Hillary Clinton, supporting John Kerry. He's in federal prison for violating bank lending laws. He was a criminal to begin with. And I pointed this out when I wrote Atomic Iran. I figured John Kerry got paid to make sure that Iran would get nuclear weapons.
So you're saying John Kerry's really a foreign operative?
I'm saying John Kerry, from the time he ran for president, was happy to accept Iranian money through Hassan Namazi, and he knew that his mission was to allow Iran to get nuclear weapons. I've said that about John Kerry since 2005.
Well, it's clear they're letting them get them, but from my military sources, special forces people pretty high up, even 6-7 years ago, I'm on record saying the Saudis secretly have some nukes and that Iran already has nukes. They just want to be able to have this nuclear program to then come out and claim later they made them themselves. What's your intel?
Iran wants to be able to make its own weapons, so it doesn't just have one. It doesn't just have one or two. Iran wants the world.
So hold on, your sources confirm then, or you think there's validity that they have a couple weapons?
Oh, they could easily, anytime they want to. I mean, they've been able to do that for years. But they want to be able to have more than one when they actually use it, so that they could have a threat to retaliate against other countries that are going to retaliate against them. Iran is planning a nuclear war. What Obama has just put into place with this agreement is the certainty now that we will have a nuclear war in the Middle East. It's only a matter of time. And the Iranians will wait until they have enough weapons to be able to retaliate against anyone who counters them for dropping a dozen nukes on Israel. It only takes 1 or 2 nukes to destroy Israel.
And we have a, quote, Iranian obsession, but also a Saudi obsession with Iran. Don't these two groups, Shiite, Sunni, hate each other even more than the West?
I've been writing, and if you take a look at a book I wrote called, Israel Can't Wait. Israel and Saudi Arabia have been working together, including on military exercises, I think for at least the last 5 years, planning a strike on Iran. I think Israel realized, I certainly told the top government in 2008, 2009, I was over there when Obama gave his speech in Cairo. And I was delivering the message to top leaders in the Israeli government that Obama was going to turn on Israel and abandon Israel.
I remember you said that on this show, and I just didn't believe you. And I got to say this. You have been probably the most accurate person, other than like a Ron Paul, that we've ever had. I mean, you really know your stuff. I'm not kissing your butt. It's just true. It's almost like you got a crystal ball.
Well, it's... God has given me the ability to kind of look at things and be able to assess them. I sometimes feel like the books that I write, it takes 10 years for them to happen, and then they happen. America for Sale is also going to happen. That's another book. So I'm saying the agreement between Israel and Saudi Arabia against Iran is a certainty, and when Israel attacks Iran, which I think it almost inevitably will do, it will be with the assistance of Saudi Arabia, with the Obama administration, if it's still in power, actively opposing Israel. And the Jews in America who have any allegiance left to Israel better realize that Obama is an enemy of Israel.
Well, that's my next question. 6 years into this strategy to overthrow Gaddafi, overthrow Egypt, overthrow Syria, overthrow allies or neutral groups, to then put in Saudi Arabian-backed head choppers, like, that's Twilight Zone. I know our government's got corruption and problems, but, Obama's cousins and people and funding the Muslim Brotherhood, this is an insane strategy.
Well, Obama has been Muslim Brotherhood from the beginning. And Hillary Clinton has Huma Abedin, who was her, I'm convinced, lover and her top associate for years. And the two of them have been Muslim Brotherhood. Hillary and Obama have been the greatest gun runners in American history. And they are secretly, and have been secretly, going back to when Chris Stevens was first sent into Benghazi. It's been Hillary and Obama running guns to the al-Qaeda-affiliated militia and into Syria, all in favor of the Muslim Brotherhood, because these groups have Muslim Brotherhood origins. And, this is what I said was the cause of Chris Stevens' death. He was trying to take the weapons back. They were looking for the...
Well, that's my next question, and Colonel Schaefer said it within a couple of weeks of it. I've had Tosh Plumlee, CIA whistleblower. Right. They've all confirmed it. Why would the Clintons send in Stevens if they had to whack him to cover up the weapons transfer?
Well, first, see, the initial idea was that Stevens was going to go in and provide these covert guns, which, by the way, they're now prosecuting Mark Turry for, the Department of Justice, setting up Mark Turry. I'll be writing about that probably next week. But Mark Turry is innocent. The Clintons have framed him, and they prosecuted him with the cooperation of Obama and Loretta Lynch in the Department of Justice to be the fall guy in a scheme that was really Hillary's scheme, running guns through Chris Stevens. And then after Gaddafi fell, which was a destabilizing move in favor of the Muslim Brotherhood, was an insane move, because remember, Gaddafi had been funding Reverend Wright and Louis Farrakhan when Obama was a politician in Chicago. Obama was benefiting from Gaddafi through Farrakhan and Reverend Wright. Obama turned on Gaddafi because Obama wanted to destabilize Gaddafi in order to put the Muslim Brotherhood in. Now, the guns that were being run were getting out of control, and they lost a bunch of these man-pads, and Hillary began worrying going to have airlines taken down by weapons that could be traced back to Gaddafi and ultimately to her and to Obama. They're trying to have Chris Stevens in September when the 9/11 event occurred, the attack on Benghazi. Chris Stevens was trying to work with Turkey to get these weapons found.
So they ordered him basically taken out, stood down, had the Benghazi security force that they had paid, who were a bunch of al-Qaeda people, come in and slaughter him.
Well, and Stevens was expendable at this point. And in their strategy, if Stevens had been captured, and I'm convinced Stevens was alive when he was found in that compound, that he could have been exchanged for the blind sheik. And that was another one of the plans that Obama had in the works, that Stevens would be set up, attacked, captured, and to have a prisoner exchange for him. In the meantime...
But the radicals got mad when 2 Navy SEALs from down the street came in and wiped a bunch of them out, so they flipped out and killed everybody.
Well, and also they got mad because Stevens was trying to take the guns away. He was trying to find the man-pad. Terrorists are fine if you want to give them weapons. If you want to start taking their weapons away, they get a little bit mad. And they decided it was time to whack Stevens because they didn't like him going out to find the man-pads and get them back.
Sure, because whoever got those, they said, we can sell these off for 10 times the money or use them and hold the entire West hostage, blackmailing Hillary that she gave us these.
Precisely, and that's what the Obama administration has been trying to hide with Benghazi from the beginning. They're still trying to hide it. They won't let you see Hillary's emails. They won't you realize that Hillary set Mark Turry up to be the fall guy in a gun-running stream through a Qatar. Judge Napolitano wrote an article and said the same thing I'm saying right here. I had the pictures. We published at WND the photographs of the weapons that were seized in that Qatari, the 2 boats from Qatari, trying to bring European-made weapons into Libya that had been arranged by Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's one of the biggest gun runners in the world.
Do you think she can get away with all this?
No, ultimately I don't. I think Clintons are going to face a major defeat within the next few months, and their foundation may actually be closed.
Very exciting to see these criminals fall. Plus, you and I both know they're after us. Just the sooner they're politically destroyed, the better. This is serious business. I want to come back and get into the economic situation worldwide with one of the chief writers at WND.com, Dr. Jerome Corsi. Let me tell you what's so important about Infowars.com and this syndicated radio broadcast /TV. We make it safe for the other cowards in libertarian and conservative and just pro-survival, pro-sanity media, we make it safe for them to cover this stuff later. And we've moved conservative libertarian radio so far towards reality, away from their neocon, fake conservative behavior. It's amazing. And the guests we have on, like Dr. Corsi and so many others, that just have been proven to be incredibly accurate, is a godsend. That's why it's vital to tell friends and family about the broadcast. It's why it's vital to buy the books, the videos, the T-shirts, the high-quality supplements at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com. You are funding the reporters, the websites, the crews. All of this cost a lot of money to run. I couldn't do this in New York City or L.A. Texas is more inexpensive. I mean, this type of operation in New York City would cost, I don't even want to tell you how much it would cost. The point is, we have got the meter running. We have high-quality products at very competitive prices. We're the place to shop. We're the place to support. We don't take your money at gunpoint like the government and give it to MSNBC as stimulus money. We're here saying we got quality products. We promote freedom. We're fearless. Please support us. InfoWarsStore.com. Free shipping in the month of July. We are running out of some of our very best supplements, Super Male Vitality and the Survival Shield Nascent I9X2. Prostagard is back in. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And I'm done ranting. We're going to go into some overdrive and talk to John, Alabama, who I apologize, got cut off by the break, and a few others. But Dr. Corsi, you've got 3-4 minutes to finish up. You're an expert on the economy. That's why I wanted to get you on, but more has happened since then. Please come back soon on that. But how serious is what's happening in the world economy?
Well, I think you've got two things going on. One is that Greece is absolutely in free fall, and this agreement is really Greece's loss of sovereignty. It's a German bank takeover of Greece. Greece is going to have to sell major assets. The German banks are going to move in and own Greece. This is going to be worse than the Nazi occupation as far as the Greeks are concerned, and it won't last long. You're going to see riots in the streets of Greece. You're going to see panic once the Greek population realizes the controls they're under. Greece is going to go bankrupt again. The European Union and the Germans are not going to keep sending a socialist country like Greece more money so that people who are not working can get free food. Germany's not going to do it for long, and this is going to collapse. This is the beginning of the collapse of the euro. It's the beginning of the end of the dream of the European unity and entity. It won't work. This is a draconian, banker-driven central bank solution to a problem created by the central bankers to take over a country, and it's not going to work. The Greek people are going to be reduced to poverty. They're going to be suicides. They're going to be looking for food in the streets. I mean, this is a disaster of major proportions. Second major crisis is that the Chinese stock market is suffering 1929-like losses, and it's going to continue because that's a stock market, again, built by debt. These debt mountains built up around the world are going to come collapsing down. The central bankers are going to try to keep the zombie economies going by more zombie loans. They're going to try to prop Greece up. They're going to try to prop the stock market up in China. They're both going to collapse, and it'll be the beginning of a major worldwide recession.
When do you think that's going to happen?
Happening right now. Happening even as we're speaking.
So you think this fall and winter will be spectacular?
I think by October, the U.S. stock market could crash.
Unbelievable. Dr. Corsi, WND.com. Thank you so much. Amazing. Get him back on as soon as possible for a whole 30 minutes on the economy. Overdrive coming up. Oh, man. Incredible time to be alive. Well, when somebody like Dr. Corsi says we're probably going to see a stock market crash in the U.S. by October, listen, I'd give it about a 60% chance. And they'll use the crisis just to get more bailouts, more power. We're going to do an article on this that'll be on Infowars.com. Here it is from my mother's phone. Do a document cam shot. You can see that she has 18,700 emails in her inbox. Her phone was at 9% power here. I support our troops. Welcome to Texas. I'm a Texas Democrat. And they're trying to gain money off the fact that Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz hate U.S. troops. I mean, just a complete and total lie. So this is what they're running, using the incremental military takeover as a way to then discredit people that pointed out. And, of course, it used to be the Democrats that were worried about a military takeover. I mean, any country should be worried about that. That's what happens all the time around the world. That's what Eisenhower warned about in his farewell address, but they act like it's weird. Now, John in Alabama, thank you for holding. If folks just joined us, you live in Alabama outside an air base, and you're in there at Walmart at 1 in the morning a few days ago, and they grab you, take you to jail, but don't charge you and say, come back later. I've seen that with demonstrators before, and you were there, and there were guys with UN name tags with a guy in a black uniform, and they tackled you, and the police came and took you to jail. Amazing. And if this is true, it's incredible. What else can you tell us about this? What did the police say to you in the squad car? Was anything else said to you?
Well, Alex, I don't know about how censorship is on your show, so I'm pretty sure I can't quote them verbatim. But in a nutshell, they told me that I effed up by wanting to get picture happy with my iPhone. And, you know, I told them I was just, I mean, I could be wrong, but I told them I was exercising my First Amendment right, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly. And they didn't care. Like, my iPhone is probably no more, but...
Wait, they didn't even give you your iPhone? They didn't give you your phone back?
No. When I left the city jail, they told me that I could pick my iPhone up when I picked my paperwork up. And, you know, like I told you earlier, you know, before you went to break earlier, you know, I've been arrested a few times. I know the ins and outs of it. You're supposed to be formally charged. You're supposed to get paperwork as soon as you get kicked loose, whether it's you have to pay to get out or you get a recognizance bond, a property bond, what have you, and they give you your property back.
Well, sir, here's the deal. I would call the local media, and I would say, troops stole my iPhone at the Walmart. They won't give it back. That's a news story. And if they won't cover it, we'll come up there. And I'll go in there with a video camera to the police department and say, give him his iPhone back and let them try to arrest me. That's fine if they do. But I believe you. I've had similar things happen to me. This is incredible. Describe these UN troops for us. How were they dressed? What the uniforms look like? Where were they in the Walmart? Break it down for us.
Okay, the men that I saw in the Walmart, the gentlemen that I'm presuming are bodyguards because they're the ones that pulled what I'm assuming is Glock 17s because that's standard issue sidearms.
Oh, wait, they pulled firearms on you?
Yeah, yes. They drew down on me in Walmart while there was a total of 6. 4 of them drew down on me and covered me while 2 of them took me to the ground.
Well, that's unprecedented. Armed troops pulled a gun on you.
Armed in plain clothes, and I'm assuming that they were protecting the 2 men in the suits with the badges on their lapel. And, like, I didn't mean them any harm, you know, I mean...
No, I understand. It was some type of diplomats or something that think they're God.
Yeah.
So what happened next?
All right, well, they took me down with no resistance at all because
we're almost out of time. What else happened? What else happened?
Okay, they detained me and held me on the ground. One of them had a knee in my back, holding both of my hands behind my back, and I let it go on. And then the city police arrived, and they carted me off to jail. And, you know, I got out a couple hours later on what they said was a recognizance bond. You know, in good faith, I'll show up.
All right, brother, here's the deal. I'm going to send a reporter up there. I believe you. We need to go back to Walmart, recreate it. We need to go to the police department. This is huge. Armed UN forces tackling and then robbing a citizen's iPhone and taking him to jail.